Hello. Just getting this set up here. I was watching a very interesting documentary that was available on Netflix about historical females and especially females that were American women who were heiresses of, the new America, right? And trading their wealth for titles because they were deemed so, unfortunate looking. Things of that nature. These days, you get those eyebrows threaded, the hair straightened, and they'd look like freaking one of the Kardashians. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart, right? Um, but many of them went on to live very miserable lives until some of them did actually get out of these, arrangements. One of the first cases, her name was Anna, and the man that she got married to apparently was back in the day they didn't call it DL, but he was friendly to all the faces anyway, and so $40 million in exchange for that and a title. Can you believe it? And it was only, I can't remember how they said how long he had already blown through like 7 million of. And this was back in 18 whatever. Can you even imagine? I mean, it's just a lot of times we tune into readings and we see and we're like so stricken by the greed, right? So stricken by the greed of others. And unfortunately, when you look at history, you see that greed is very prevalent in this world. And that's why a lot of us have turned to things that are not of this world, turn to the spiritual, okay? Because we understand that. On this earthly realm, some of that will always exist as it does. And if you don't think it exists, then you're just a very naive person. I'm sorry to break it to you. Okay. Anyway, but if I find the proper link, I will. It was like an hour long, um, going through some famous heiresses, and it kind of just shows, the whole what a woman's worth was valued, because it wasn't, women who could own the property or women who could manage the money until they actually gained proper rights, And the thing is how much that these male figures squandered. Also, if you watch the latest Downton Abbey movie, that was one of the subplots, okay, of the movie, how, a male cousin had squandered their fortune, and it was just like, oh, I guess we're gonna have to give up the manor now. Just like, but what else was there to do, right? Now people actually have rights, and it's unfortunate that some people still try and take people's rights away in that manner. But don't be naive to the game. The game has been going on for a very long time. Dykes, queers, bis, whores. you know, um, if you're Q plus, don't get mad at me. Apparently, folks were living out loud on other people's dimes a long time ago, and everybody knew it. And people do it today as well. And it's like then all of a sudden you're the bad person when you don't want to marry a queer, when you're not queer in that way. You know what I mean? I see that sometimes on these, like, oh, well, why should I have to tell the man that I'm really a dude? It's like, really? People have been so accustomed to lying and thinking it's okay to lie because they lie to themselves. Anyway, first card here is the Hangman. Is this coming out in reverse? Is the whole, yeah, maybe so Pisces energy and the Rue. Okay, so yeah, somebody could have wanted you to hang on to a story that they were telling that really wasn't true. Wanting you in this stuck position, saying, "Oh yeah, baby, I love you. Oh yeah, we're gonna get married. I just need to do this first, and I need to do that first." And, it's not always the queers, right? Sometimes it's the It's the ones that be running around with, everybody else, right? Or maybe it's not that they're fucking everybody else. Maybe it's just, other people are just more important, right, to them. Maybe it's their family, maybe it's their parents, maybe it's their kids, maybe it's their mistresses, their ex-wives, ex-husbands, whoever it is, more important than the relationship at hand, but yet they want to keep you hanging on. You know that old Vanilla Fudge song? Okay, covered of the Supremes, right? Set me free, why don't you, babe? Okay. Okay. Diana Ross. Get out my life, why don't you, baby? Right? Oh man, how freaking amazing would that have been to be performing that? All right. Five of Swords. Yeah. There's a lot of lies here, especially this showing up in the sacral. So the sexual energy is not. Whoever said it was, it's not. Okay. Um, And again, this is one of those things. You ever end up in those situations where it's like, somebody's unfaithful or they're the type that runs around, and then you come to realize it's like, they're not even all that in the sack, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why you run around thinking everybody wants this because it ain't that much. It ain't that much. These days we got Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon.com to fulfill, male and female. Okay? Male and female. Some people think, oh no, I can only get that from another human being. Well, human beings come with diseases these days. They come with diseases, they come with financial problems, they come with not having a ride, not having a job, and not willing to go get one, because just like these folks that were selling their titles, that's what there's actually people around here that think that because they're such and such used to do this, that they're owed something and that they don't have to do any work, you know so it's when they say, history is doomed to repeat those who refuse to learn it. All right. So somebody could be thinking on this now and realizing, say, yeah, that didn't really make a hill of bean sense to me. So, I'm not staying in this hangman position anymore. Okay. So again, they wanted you to be upside down on it, and oh well, if only they had you know, if only that woman or man had let me do them in the butt, right? Then it would have been okay. If only that woman or man would have cleaned the house for me, then it would have been okay. If only that woman or man would have made me a rack of lamb on this major holiday and invited all my family over, then it would have been okay, right? There's always a new excuse. There's always a new hoop. If only this person would have, and it's always something that you can do for them, right? It's never about what they can contribute, because that is the level of entitlement that I'm talking about, where they think they own the table and they don't realize that you're the one that invited them, right? And once you realize that you invited them, you can disinvite them. You are within your power to do so. So don't get it twisted. Don't get stuck upside down believing all these lies. Okay? And of course there's the ones that be like, "Oh yeah, you get with that. Oh yeah, I hit that." No, they didn't. They're just saying that. You ever hear that? What was the big thing that the president got in trouble for? Locker room talk. A lot of these dudes, they don't wanna, admit that their game, there is no peep to their game. They're pipsqueaks in their game. They have no game. They got gamed by the game. And that's why they're stuck with women or men they don't want, with kids they don't want. The whole thing. That's what I'm saying. That's why they run around lying to everybody else. They're because they can't look at themselves in the mirror and say, "Oh, this ain't working." It's easier to lie to you. Okay, and I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna post that the money for titles thing because that's exactly what it is. You know, some cultures still have it. They call it the dowry, right? Oh well, the bride's family has to pay us this so that she can be validated as a woman and have the missus and our last name. You know, the star card also wanted to come out in reverse. So yeah, somebody wanted to keep you hidden. They wanted you to be convinced by these lies, by their sexual prowess, their sexuality. Maybe they lied and said that they were gonna have a kid with you. You ever notice though, when they end up with the kid, they never want it, right? And they don't want the person that gave it to them neither. Guess what? If that had been you, it don't matter because that's just how they act. That's just how they act. Just like they say for some women, it's about the dress and it's about the church and it's about the photos. It ain't about who the person is that they're spending time with, you know. I mean, especially the ones that come around with their kids and then they get mad at you because you don't want to take care of their kids. Like you're the one that's supposed to take responsibility. Well, guess what? We got this thing called child support that most taxpayers pay into the system. So, if you're not paying your child support, I guess your kid's going to have to go on state aid, and then we'll pay for it that way since you're such a fucking loser. And you can't go down to the fucking corner gas station and get a fucking job, right? I mean, this is the type of trash, right? Like in that documentary, one of the aristocratic men, he was too unbothered with wanting to pay his bills. So like the heiress came home one day to their freaking mansion and the heat was not on. Because even though he had all the money, he thought that was beneath him to actually have to pay a utility bill. Whereas she was like, hey, what's going on here? So again, people lying to you, wanting you to believe something other than what you are. You are the star. You are in control. You are in charge. You know, somebody else isn't your destiny. You are your destiny. If they fail to recognize it, then I guess they missed destiny, didn't they? You know? All right. Oh boy, yeah, wanting you to stay attached in the heart. This person could be like, "Oh, but what about our relationship? What about our commitment that we, got up in the church with others? What about this? What about that?" Well, how are they contributing to this? Again, and this is in the heart chakra. Is it about is it about how it feels for you, or is it about how it looks for them? A lot of times looks can be deceiving, right? Picture perfect ain't so perfect. That's what they say. A picture is worth a thousand words. On that documentary, it was like, oh, the servants downstairs talking about how the marriage still hasn't been consummated and this and that. Yeah, because they're wondering if they're gonna have a job or not, right? you know, they're wondering how where's this money train going? Because back in the day, that's how it was. you know? And boy, isn't that devil in the details, all right? Some of the ones that were able to divorce these spouses, I mean, they were probably lucky to even get out alive, you know? Makes you really look back on some of these old poisonings and all these old accidents and things. It's like, yeah, I'm sure. Anyway. Yeah, Ace of Cups. So, collective, I feel like you're being spoken to through spirit, through the universe, through your ancestors with love, that you're coming with love. Okay. This is also right now symbolic of the cup. Okay. If you're a Christian follower. Um, Also, the other night I happened to watch Barabbas. I hadn't seen that in years and years and years. And Barabbas is one of those characters that is constantly questioning. And this is, at the advent of Christianity, right? Where, um, you had to swear your allegiance to the emperor, the Roman emperor, or else, and the emperor was God. And if you didn't believe that, then, you could be killed. That was treasonous. Um, and he actually survived. He was given up by the crowd um, when they had a choice to pardon him or Jesus. And then for the rest of his life, he was faced with challenge after challenge. And he was starting to realize why he survived and how he survived, right? And at that point, it's through the grace of God, right? So this loving strength, you might be speaking this loving strength into you right now, okay, with gratitude, all right, being grateful for the things we have, right? Somebody I know that got married, before they got married, the husband was asking them how much money they made. Yeah, I mean, and I was a witness to this. Like, it was just like their casual conversation that they just thought was cool to do in front of everybody. Anyway, so that tells you one, right? Yeah. And then when the person divulged what they were making, and the future husband was like, "That's it," you know. I mean, but to somebody else, that's they're making a living off of it. So it's like, who are you to sneeze at it, right? And that's the thing, is these entitled people, these titles, in titles alone, that's what they're like. Oh, you got 40 mil, that's it. You know what I mean? But what did they come with? A name? It's like, you might have a name, but you're not Tina Turner, honey. You know what I'm saying? Can you sing and dance like her? No. Okay. Then sit the fuck down and shut up. So, um, sometimes collective, after this devil has its claws and says, yes, but we told everybody, yes, but you signed the contract, yes, but blah, 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 right? Try to trip you up on all these details. The next thing that you got to start doing is talking to yourself as God would for you. Okay, just like Barabbas got up every day, survived in the mines, was released, kind of was earning his freedom, right? And then, at the end, he realized it wasn't the emperor who gave him his freedom, right? This putting, somebody else putting you in a hangman, somebody else of a person literally does not have control over you, even though situationally you might physically on the earthly realm be placed in that situation. I just saw something about a woman that was released after like 38 years in jail. They convicted her of murdering her husband. They finally commuted her sentence. She always maintained her innocence. And this woman looks so happy. She's been out of jail for a year, and she's just like enjoying her grandchildren and her kids and blah, blah. Now tell me that's not a person of faith that got through that and said, you don't own me. That's another one. You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys, right? Leslie Gore, okay? So, you know, just like Barabbas did, yeah, he was, kind of enslaved there in the mines, but he still was getting up every day and saying, and one of his buddies in the mine was like, remember, you were spared for a reason. You know, the reason is the cup of life comes from within you, not somebody else pouring into it. Um, Because the second you think that that's all that there is, then it's like, oh, I got you now, right? You know, and unfortunately, those characters on the earthly realm exist. Okay. Got a lot of signs here right now, too. So I'll go over those at the end. Oh, yeah, Eight of Swords. So, yeah, as you're speaking your truth, you might be getting a little pushback. You might hear people being like, yeah, but I thought you were doing this instead. Or, yeah, I thought blah, 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 this instead. Or, yeah, I thought blah, blah. Well, okay, you can think whatever you want, but that don't make it true. It's like we are in the information superhighway zone, and wow, are people dumb because they don't want to do their own research. They don't even want to step outside their own fucking door and look outside. Well, you know, if they want to live like that, then yeah, they will be living in the Eight of Swords, blind and dumb. Blind and dumb. The collective is not blind and dumb. Archangel Michael, again, coming through. Protecting us from the snares of the devil. Look it up. Look up the prayer. Look it up. Look it up and come back here and mock the spirituality. Go ahead. See how far it gets you. Yeah, Six of Swords. Collective, you see yourself, yeah, in a more peaceful zone, away from these liars. Um, I feel like for some of you, it's not a transformation so much as remembering, yeah, coming back in union with yourself in a way, exploring the duality of nature, right? Good and evil. You know, the Cain and Abel, right? And some people be like, yeah, but what if you were in that position and blah blah, you would have done what they did. Well, that's what they're saying. But what does your soul and spirit say here with the Ace of Cups? Okay, what is your essence? What does your destiny say when you step up to meet the road, rising up to meet the road? Because trust me, they didn't want you on the road. They didn't want you on the road. You know, it could be a public road to them to be like, no, you can't. You ever see that movie, Blues Brothers, when the Nazis are blocking the bridge? It's like, hey, Nazis, you don't own that road. No, you don't. The taxpayers own that road. The state owns that road. You know, the government owns that road. You're lucky it's not the motherfucking railroad, because if it was, they're private and they'll come over and fucking pop your ass, right? Well, a lot of them are publicly traded now, but back in the days, that's what they used to do, right? You know, the romantic notion of riding the rails. Well, I can assure you, not all of those rail riders had noble motivations, but they thought they were nobility. And that's why they just said, well, we're just going to put out one lie after another and see who buys it, right? Eventually somebody's got to buy it, right? Right? No, no. Just like I just saw this woman talking about these data centers out in West Virginia, and she said they think we're dumb, right? She's like, we're not dumb. You know? She obviously didn't have no kale fucking salad for breakfast, but, you know, who gives a fuck? Is that what you want to eat? I mean, I sure as fuck don't. Say the Russian kale is a little easier to digest. I mean, it is very hard to digest. So, Yeah, just because somebody says it's good for you, right? I mean, have you ever eaten greens? You know how long it takes to cook greens? Those things be on the stove for hours. Devil's in the details, man. You just go around eating raw greens, you're gonna be right. That's right. You're gonna be feeling it all right. Mm-hmm. You gonna be saying something. It ain't gonna be pleasant. You be wishing you had a paper cup. Squirt that out somewhere, somewhere, right? Been a very interesting read so far. So, in collective, I think you understand perfectly what other people think, and as a reminder, what other people think is none of your business. That's a very popular saying. Um, but if you already know, then use it to your advantage, right? Use it to your advantage. How many times have we seen in history, you know, strong armies of the world thinking they're just going to plow through? They're just going to plow through, right? Because we visualize somebody else as weak, because we visualize somebody else as not knowing what the fuck's going on, right? Oh, we're so much better than them, blah, blah, right? Really? Really? Okay. Okay. Is that why some of these wars have gone on 10, 15, 20, 25 fucking years? And why some people have decided to drop their weapons and say, wow, this is fucking stupid. You know? That's why some of these women in these marriages, they were lucky to get out. They said, well, this is dumb. They said, Jesus, they're going to blow $7 million and give me, $100 a month of my own money. Huh? Excuse me. Who you think you are? Britney Spears's dad's attorneys? You know what I mean? Good Lord. Everybody gets so angry about her dance. I see it on Reddit all the time. There's a whole thread that says discussing Britney, and because every day she's posting on there dancing and stuff. It's like, okay, but if she was just as scantily clad on a stage in Vegas and her dad was getting the money, everyone would be like, oh, oh, yes, more, bravo, bravo. But since she's doing it in her living room, where her little dog pooped in the back or something, you know. I mean, can somebody hire her a cleaning person? I mean, come on now. Anyway, you know what I mean? Since it's her doing, it's like, oh God, she's just dissolved into madness. Really? Really? Seriously, go watch those shows, right? You know what I mean? There's people like Kevin Federline and all these other old baby makers out there be like, oh well, I did this. You know what I mean? They're just as bad as these single moms be rolling around thinking you need to bow down to them just because they popped out a fucking kid one day because they down with too many fucking men and couldn't afford the abortion that time. Excuse the fuck out of me. You think I don't know? You think I don't know? Bitch, step back with your holier than thou bullshit. Oh, you ain't with that man either, are you? Oh, yeah, that's really shocking, isn't it? Because they thought they were going to get him hung up in that baby trap. Oh, that'll seal the deal. You ever see that movie, Officer and a Gentleman? Yeah, yeah, exactly. People do a lot of things for some greed, for some cash. You don't think it happens, you're naive. Better start watching Dateline. You better start smartening up. Better start educating yourself. Is this right here, this little heart chakra? You get too wrapped up. Yeah, lost in emotion. The Lisa story. Okay, that's pretty good actually. Um, you get too wrapped up in emotion, people start thinking, yeah, yeah. They start thinking you're going to be doing things that you don't want to fucking do. You never signed up for. And you're going to be like, well, I didn't think this was going to be what my marriage was going to be about. Right? And they'll be like, yeah, but you just have to try it first. You have to try it. You have to do it because we're in this commitment. If you loved me, you would do it, right? That's manipulation. It's called manipulation. Extortion, if you will. You didn't see Jesus running around Nazareth saying, well, you ought to get married because. Right? You just take the business transaction out of it. Because that is what some of these people want when they get you in a civil or religious contract. They want you to call them God, male or female. They think they own you at that point. And some of these people be getting married in the church. Sometimes it's the church that endorses that type of abuse. That's why a lot of people turn away from religion. And they turn away from religion because it's not a true representation of Christianity or spirituality. Okay? Because God wouldn't want you to be like that. You think God wants you to feel down and all that kind of stuff? No. God wants you to be out and shining in all your glory. Like the star here. Represented by Aquarius. Aquarius being known as kind of that oddball sign, all right? I think all of us have that, right? That little spark that makes us unique. That little spark that makes us different than, maybe some of our family members, some of our friends, some of our coworkers, right? Some people you go into work and it's like, oh, there's so and so again. She's just all about this company and gung ho, right? Good for them, right? Other people, it's like, yeah, I'm here. I want to do a good job, but this ain't my life. You know what I mean? Some people are offended by that. It's comical to me, how offended people can be by that when it's quite frankly none of their damn business. So, they're lying to themselves at that point, right? Again, not wanting to face the facts. They could have been codependent. So in a work situation, they could have been codependent on you as well. All right. So for those of you that may be like stuck in like like they didn't give me this promotion this time, or they said maybe next year and blah blah, you need to start looking. Okay, you need to fight back. Okay, do not get tangled up in somebody else's web of deception of them not being able to tell the motherfucking truth to themselves, that you mean more to them than they mean to you. Okay? And that's not because you didn't give the effort. You absolutely did. Okay? It's that they don't want you to outshine them, right? They don't want to share that limelight. No. What's that movie, Working Girl, where she has to go behind her boss, to get the job done because her boss was stealing all her ideas and presenting them off, right? I mean, when I watched that movie when I was younger, it was so, you kind of got wrapped up in the drama of, the budding romance and stuff. But when you rewatch it, like as an adult, you just realize it's like, wow, Yeah, some of these bitches over here are fucking cutthroat, and yep, I don't feel sorry for you at all now, bony ass bitch, right? Yeah, take that one and suck it, right? You're, you know, it's like, there's no alternate ending where the Sigourney Weaver character and Melanie Griffith are having lunch together with Harrison Ford. That don't happen in that movie because the evil boss showed what they're about. And not only did she want to steal her ideas and her success, she was after the man as well. And he didn't want her. He did not want her. You know? So again, you got to fill your own cup, right? Um some people are like, well, how can I do that? Well, you got to start thinking outside the box, outside those little 2 ears of yours. Okay? Okay. There's a big bad world out there. Okay. And not all of it's bad neither. And you can fill it with love as you wish, as you desire. Speaking it into existence. This is really coming through, especially the throat chakra. So for some of you, prayer, vocalizing your prayers. Maybe you don't pray out loud. Maybe you pray silently. You might want to write out a prayer. And then read that again to yourself the next day and use it as an affirmation, a daily prayer of affirmation. All right, so signage wise, I got Gemini, the water signs, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces again. So Pisces might be significant for somebody since it shows up twice here. But this reunification of soul is, again, it's kind of like getting back to the basics. So, we're entering into the winter season, and then, everyone's going to be looking forward to spring, right? After all that coldness breaks, right? And it's like, what are you going to do then? After that coldness breaks, are you going to remain cold or are you going to dip back into spring? Okay. So you got time to think about it. You got time to start expressing your gratitude. You got time to start moving in the direction that you want to be in with the Six of Swords here. And so mentally, if that means, other people not living rent free in your head, be them family members, coworkers, um, you know, ex husband, wife, whatever. Because for some of you, it could be like, look, this already went through the courts. Like, what, this is it. There's nothing else to discuss. The decision has been made. So, you know, it's like there's folks that can beat on this dead horse and say, yeah, but I thought that you were doing this and I thought you were doing that. Yeah, well, did you ever come and talk to me about that? No? Okay. Well, I guess you just don't know how to think very good. Maybe you'll learn someday. Maybe now you got time to figure it out without me around. You know what I mean? These people would be like, oh, they're so smart, blah, 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 and you're not. No, it's like, oh, okay. Well, when you remove your presence, it's like, I guess we now see how smart these motherfuckers are, and they are not smart at all, are they? It's like, in fact, some of these people are really fucking stupid. Don't let love make you dumb. Realize that some of these people literally look at that as a contract, as a business transaction. They want your love or your labor. I have a song that is in progress. It's on my Ophelia's band channel. It's called It already has like 15, 20,000 views. It's weird because I didn't expect that one to get that many. But the song is called Insert Woman Here. You know, because some people it's like they don't care that you're maybe not the best cook, or they don't care that you didn't want kids, or they didn't care that blah blah. They're just like, no, you're just gonna stand here and you're just gonna do it. You know, it don't matter to them. And it's like, is that what God would have wanted for your life? Is that what the universe wants for your life? When we're out of this physical realm, is that how you envision yourself beyond? When you take off the limits, when you take off the blinders, when you start to see real possibilities, loving possibilities, what does that actually look like? Maybe that's something you can start to journal as well. All right. Birds may also be very significant. Winter time's a good time for bird watching on the water. Okay. Alrighty. That is all I have today. So I'm gonna link that documentary, because I think that's really significant, because people want to think that this stuff is new, and it is not. It is, in fact, very old. It's just people want to call it something else to confuse us, right? They want to wordsmith it. They want to wordsmith it out of the old, if it looks like a duck and acts like a duck, sounds like a duck. Quack, quack, motherfucker. Okay? Quack, quack. All right. We'll take it out of here tonight. So I hope everyone is doing well. Again, I'm going to post that documentary in the comments. Maybe I can link it in the description so it gives you the direct YouTube link, would probably be best. All right. Till next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.